What I love here is this table right here, which is the DSM-5.
That's a very helpful table.
It is. So it's a diagnosis. Experience 5 or more symptoms within 1 year. You might be addicted. This is not a joke, but it sounds like a joke. You might be addicted. So if you have a high level of preoccupation with gaming, here's to me is a big one. If you suffer withdrawal
symptoms when the game is taken away.
Yes. It's like if somebody is playing their Bejeweled or their what's that one, Candy Crush.
Mm-hmm.
If they're playing their Candy Crush, and as they play their Candy Crush, they're getting that dopamine release through the dopamine release cycle that we're always talking about. And you take the game away, or their phone crashes, or whatever, and they can't play the game for a extended period of time, and they start getting anxious, irritable, twitchy, start looking for other ways to play.
Yeah.
That is a withdrawal symptom, and that is a very good sign of addiction. Tolerance, more gaming is needed to satisfy the urge.
Yeah.
This can go really deep into microtransactions and predatory practices.
The microtransactions, yeah.
You want to tackle that one as to how the tolerance, the more you play, the more you need?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's just how these match 3 games work. Is they let you game for a little while, and then you run out of whatever tokens it is. Let's just say it's red diamonds. And you have to buy more red diamonds to keep on playing. Otherwise, you got to wait, 1,000 years for one life to regenerate, right?
Right.
So that's what they do. And you end up spending a lot of real world money so that you can keep playing and keep playing and keep playing.
And when now Burke says that's more of an exploitation than an addiction. The thing is this, the two aren't mutually exclusive. You can use exploitation through things like predatory microtransactions in order to exploit a person's addictive personality. So if a person has become addicted to those Candy Crush Match 3 games, and they're spending a little bit of money here to get past these couple of levels so the little candy character is happy, and then they start getting addicted, they start wanting more, they crave that dopamine release.
Yeah.
They feel bad because the little character is frowning and crying because they're not winning all the time, so they're spending a little bit more. At what point can you say that is no longer an addiction? At what point can you safely say, oh no, it's just exploitation? Because the two are going hand in hand.
Unfortunately, that is the real world case.
Right. Unsuccessful attempts to quit. That is absolutely, that's a red flag.
That's a red flag there.
If you try to stop doing something and you get the shakes and you get the anxiety and you can't, and you find the only way to alleviate that is to go back to it, that is a sign of addiction. Mm-hmm. Loss of interest in previously enjoyed activities. That's another one.
That's something that BG mentioned too.
Well, and you can go all the way back to, of course, the big A, alcoholism. Mm-hmm. An alcoholic is going to stop wanting to do other things they normally would do. Maybe an alcoholic parent used to love spending time with their children, going to the park, playing frisbee, whatever. Now, as the parent descends into the monster that is alcoholism, they're doing it less and less. So the same can be said with someone with a video game addiction disorder. Here's another one. Continuing to game despite problems. A lot of times a person with an addiction knows they have an addiction, but they can't stop.
Yeah.
And they know it's causing problems. They know it's causing problems in their life. Mm-hmm. They know it's causing problems with their family, their loved ones.
Yeah, there's relationship problems, and there may be problems paying the bills.
Right.
That sort of thing.
Yes.
I'm not going to pay the electricity bill.
Right, so I can get more red diamonds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can cause problems with a marriage. Mm-hmm. Can cause problems with, the relationship between a parent and a child, or a child and a parent. So there's that as well. Deception. This is a huge one right here.
Oh, that's a big one.
To me, if a person is lying about their activity, and that activity is something that they either are or have been addicted to, they're still addicted. The moment deception figures into something, you have an addiction.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing wrong with coming clean. It's like, hey, Mom, I want to go buy some red diamonds for this game. Well, honey, you have $5. That's what you get. That's your red diamond fund for this month. Mm-hmm. Okay, so then 3 days later, the mother looks at the bill and finds that $25 have been spent, or $250. That's deception. Or the child who waits until both parents go to bed to take out their Call of Duty game or their Fortnite or whatever and play that. That's an addiction. That's deception.
Yeah, they say deception about amount of time, but as you mentioned, deception about the money spent too.
Yep.
On the games.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, the same thing. Same thing.
Yeah, it's deception.
Here's another one. This is a good one. Whenever you're using something as your only coping mechanism, I think that's a good way of putting it. I don't like this phrasing, but if you're using something as your sole coping mechanism, that's signs of an addiction, potential addiction.
Well, yeah, it's a crutch, and then that can turn into an addiction.
And this could be a flag for addiction.
Yeah.
And then risk having jeopardized.
I don't necessarily agree with that one.
Well, I don't agree that is a sign of addiction. I agree that it is this paired with other things, I believe, would be signs of potential addiction.
Yeah, BG, no staying up to 11 p.m. on a school night to play games.
I was guilty of that as a child, especially when I got like Zelda 2 for the first time. But yeah. Grades slide and parents don't like that.
Yeah.
And then the last one is risk having jeopardized or lost a job or relationship.
Which we talked about that earlier with an earlier sign. Yes.
Yep.
Jeopardizing things that are very important.
Yep.
Your relationships, your jobs.
Yes.
Your house.
100%. Your house. Your marriage, your children, your relationship, everything. Whole 9 yards. All right, let's kind of catch up a little bit with chat, and then we'll continue.
Well, let's see. First of all, Burke used to love gaming until he started game dev work.
True story.
Yeah. But BG has a good advice. What he does is he sets times where he plays games, then he sets time to clean the house, set time to make the games, etc. So follows kind of a schedule. Which
is a good idea. Scheduling does help.
So that you don't just do one thing and you lose all track of time doing that one thing.
Right. Like Star Control 2. Yeah, I have to do that with myself, especially in playing in virtual reality games, because I will legit burn hours and hours and hours. So yeah, I have to, like, I'll go in to the VR headset and I will tell my Echo Dot to set like a 1 hour timer or a 2 hour timer. And when it goes off, I take the helmet off. Something like that.
Yeah.
It helps.
I see this comment, though, that BG made. His parents knew he played games, but they had rules on how to playing, the X amount of time to play, homework needs to be done, etc. Okay. There's cases, though, of the kids playing, the rules say blah, right? But he's playing. The mother comes in and takes the game away, makes him turn it off.
Right.
And huge fit of anger.
Oh, yeah. 1 million duck fits.
That's happening more and more often. The child is absolutely addicted because you're going to react with anger like that when somebody comes in and tells you, hey, you've been doing this for 6 hours, it's time to do something else. Yep.
And I know BG says right after that, he did that once. His parents made sure I never did that again. Don't know what your parents did, whether they tanned your butt or timed you out or grounded you for a month, but it's not always something that the parents are able to control, because the parents can punish their child, but if the child actually has reached a level of addiction, the child's not going to just stop doing it.
No, they're not.
You can't easily willpower your way through an addiction. It is very difficult. You usually require a form of intervention and help. Burke says, until you're an adult and then you determine your own hours, but not adult enough to understand the consequences of staying up late playing games on a work week. And that is a very sad truth. People do that, and they harm themselves.
Yeah.
An adult can become as easily addicted as a child to video games. There's no difference. Addiction knows no age. And, hey, I set my own hours. I'm an adult. If I want to play 5 hours on WoW, I can play 5 hours on WoW. That's fine if you have the time for it and it doesn't affect you the following day. But if that 5 hours turns to 6, turns to 7, turns to 9, turns to 11.
And then all of a sudden it's time to go to work.
And you haven't slept. And then you don't go to bed, you don't go to sleep, you don't go to work.
Yeah.
Or better yet, you do go to work and you're half awake and you're sloppy or get into an accident or whatnot. You see the cascading effect here. It can go pretty bad.